So, hi guys and welcome to another edition of Rage Against the Dice. Today is, well, it's a different video. We've been asked by a couple of people actually, because we make a lot of our own scenery and because we've started to introduce that to this show or to the channel a lot more. We've been asked about Rumbleslam because it's our main game. It's the one that we enjoy the most. We really like The Walking Dead, but for us Rumbleslam's fast. It's fun. You can play 2, 3, 4 players, and it doesn't increase the speed of the game that much. It just means there's usually a lot going on in a very short space of time, which is really exciting. But yeah, so getting back to what I was saying anyway, we've been asked about whether we do any future tutorials on making our own rings, or whether that was something we had any intention of doing. And as soon as somebody posed that question, it was like a conversation that was had, and we all thought it was a brilliant idea. We've got the MDF ring, and don't get me wrong, I love the MDF ring. We also have the rollout mat, and I fully intend to buy all the different rollout mats for, the forest, etc, etc. So we have one of each. But to create our own would look really good. It would fit with the aesthetic of what we do. So today I'm going to show the basics of just how to mark it all out. And then we're making 2 boards at the moment, or 2 rings, one of which is going to be a stone dwarven based one, and the other is going to be a forest woodland based one, which is odd because we don't have any of the woodland teams yet. Or do we? No, we don't yet. That's kind of on our to-do, or our next get list, but... And it's not something I like to say about Rumbleslam because I don't really hate any of them, but I'm really not so fond of the one with the big tree man thing. I can't even remember. See, that's how little I enjoy that particular set, that I haven't really looked up like the names and things like that of them. I just know it comes with a tree man and some little spirits and stuff. I don't particularly like that set. I want it because I want everything. But at the minute, it's not a priority. These guys are a priority. Look at that. A tail. It's cool. I mean, people make mistakes packaging-wise, and, most companies will sort it out. No company I've ever dealt with has sorted out a problem as quickly as TTCombat do. From the time I contacted them, and then it was the weekend, so I will count that. Just to make it look less impressive. But I contacted them late on a Friday evening. I got a response on the Monday morning. I got the item by the Wednesday. So they must have got it in the post just in time. It was sent second class, like a lot of the stuff is. But I got it very quickly. So even if you count the weekend, that's Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 5 days to get a replacement part for a model. Now, I don't know about anybody else who's watching this video, but I've had to have replacements from Games Workshop, from Forge World, from Night Models, who are a nightmare to get replacements for, by the way, a number of other companies. I seem really unlucky, and I tend to get a lot of mispacks, or a lot of mismolds and things like that, and if I can just clean up myself, I will, but sometimes you do need to contact them, like a missing werewolf leg, for instance, or I got sent 2 left legs, and I was missing the right leg. You can't really do much about that. And the same with the missing tail. I could have green stuffed one, but, I bought a product which was meant to have the tail in, so on this rare occasion I had a bit of a whinge. But no, the speed in which it was, shipped out to myself was fantastic. Same with the werewolf. When I got the 2 left legs, it took about 5-6 days again. And that time I didn't even go through TTCombat's email system. I think I emailed them through Facebook, and that was even quicker. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm sure it was like 4-day turnaround from the day. Because obviously I emailed them and then they replied the same day, and it was posted out, I think, the same day or the next morning, and I got it within 3 or 4 days. So I can't complain. But back to this now. Yes, I do eventually want to get all the teams. We haven't at the moment. I am going to make a swampy Trot Gully style board as well for the lizards eventually, but for now the tree one and the stone one. The stone one because we actually want it, and the tree one was one that was requested when it was first mentioned, do you plan on making boards? They say because a tree one would look really good. And it gives me a chance to mess around trying to make trunks of a tree that can also have the bigger models balance on top of them. So we're going to get straight into it. I've already marked up one board ready, and then I'm going to mark up the other one now, as you can see. But yeah, we'll get into it and we'll take it from there. So as you can see, here we have the TTCombats MDF ring. There's not much I can say about it really, other than it's cool. It's exactly what you need it to be. It's MDF like a lot of the terrain we use, because most of our terrain comes from TTCombat. It's sturdy enough. I've dropped it a couple of times, you can see down there, where I need to repatch that up, and obviously we still haven't finished painting it yet, because we've been working on the models first. This looks okay at the level we've got it at. You know, it'll do. I do want to add ropes eventually, but I'm just so terrified that I'll snap them and they don't look like they're going to be too easy to put back in. So that's why I haven't yet. So this is the basic ring. This is what it looks like. Now I'm going to show you what we're using and what I've marked out so far. So bear with me one moment. So here you can see we've got these cheap 12 by 12 MDF boards. You can use a thicker board if you'd like. You could use a thinner. You could use, you know, you don't have to go 12 inches, but it has to be at least 12 inches realistically. And that's because of this 10-inch playing area, and then like a 2-inch square, so the bigger models can sit on whatever you have as your corner buckles. I would actually advise that probably 14 or 15 inches is probably going to be better for you. It gives you more to do around the area. The reason I chose these is because we actually had them lying around, because one of the guys from our games club, Victor, who runs the gaming club that we go to in Sunderland, and there's always a link below, so you should definitely check it out if you live in the northeast of England. But yeah, he gave us these boards because he didn't have any use for them, so I had them lying around anyway. So as you can see, this one's one I used for spraying, or previously, and I've got about 5 or 6 of these, so I'm certainly going to make a load more boards. As you can see, I've marked this one out already. What you're going to need is very, very simple. The board itself, and you could do that out of card. I would probably use a thicker stock of card. You'll need a ruler. You're not going to be doing any cutting on this, so a plastic ruler would be fine, but I always say a metal ruler because it's just all purpose. Pencil to mark it out initially, and then a Sharpie. I like the Sharpie. I don't know if that's product placement or advertising, but yeah, any kind of fine black permanent marker just to mark it out when you're done. So the first thing to do, and I'm not going to do it fully because that'll be really, really dull, but you mark it across 1 inch at each side. So sorry, you mark it across 1 inch all the way. As said, I'll do the first ones. I'm not going to line up the whole thing. So there you have it. You have 12 lines, or 11 lines, 10 lines. You have enough lines for the whole side board. Then what I do, just to make it as exact as possible, is I keep the tape measure like so, and I move it up. Normally I don't have a camera in the way, so it's a lot easier. I'm going to reposition myself now, so you guys are still seeing the same thing. 1, 2, and I'm just doing it very roughly for now. I'll certainly neaten it up, and that's why we do it with a pencil. Because you're going to be painting over it as well, you don't really need to rub anything out, although you can if you so desire. And then what you do is you count 2 in at either side, line them up. I'm hoping the camera's picking this up, and it kind of is, so like that, and then you draw the said line from one end to the other. And we've got kind of mistying because of the spray paint, but that's fine. And then we do the same at the other side. And then what you would then do is you would do the same on these corners. So I'm going to do that now, and I'm going to come back with where it would look set up, because you guys don't need to see me draw a couple more pencil lines and a bit of measuring. That's just dull, even with my, soothing tones. As somebody said in a message that we had soothing, it's like nobody has ever described me as soothing tones, but apparently that's what I've got. So yes, I'm going to do the next stage, or finish this stage, sorry, and then come back and you'll be able to see where we're at with regards to it. So, back in a minute. So your board should now kind of look like this, which is where you've got these corners, where it should be your corner posts. You've got these areas down the side, which you can do stuff with, and we're going to. I want like a little ringside tables and things like that, so when we do our title matches, we can put the belt on it and things like that, because that's the level of details I enjoy. But yeah, that's kind of what you look at. Now, what we're going to be doing, and you've probably already guessed it, is we're lining up these, and we're making our squares. Now, if, like me, you're using a board that's been sprayed on 1,000,000 times, it's going to wreck your pencil, as you can see. But I'm just going to soldier on, because I'm a trooper. That's what I am. And because if I get another pencil, it's just going to ruin it. But I may have to end up sharpening this. Now what I'm going to do on both of these is I'm going to be putting something over the top of them anyway. So the line's just a basic outline for when I'm working. But as I said, I would always have it measured out anyway, just as a guideline. But yes, so like on this one that's going to be made of stone, which I think will end up being this board, because it's going to be harder to paint on and things like that. So with that one, I'm going to use foam board, and I'm going to cut the foam board out. And then I'm going to put the foam board into each individual square, so that I can texture it and things like that and make it look like rock. And then you do the same again across to the other side. So again, I'm not going to have you guys watch me do that. I'm going to get it all measured out and then finish up, and we'll come back and we can go on to the next stage, which is just outlining it with the marker, so we're at the same spot. So as you can see, now we've got a sort of standard ring setup going on. And here's my favourite part. You're going to need to test that all your lines are even. And to do this, you can use the help of Ronnie Salvage. And you just pop him. He seems to fit okay. I don't know if you guys agree. I don't know why I'm asking you. You can't reply. Well, you can. You could pop your answer in the comments below. That was a pretty decent segue. Now, what you need to do is your marker. One thing I did realise, I told you guys like, oh, you need a marker. We're modelers, we're hobbyists. You could quite easily use paint. If you didn't have or didn't want to use a marker, you could quite happily use paint from your collection and it would work exactly the same. And that would be perfectly fine. Nobody's going to punish you for doing so. Again, this doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to be your bottom layer. It's just kind of like measuring out the framework that you're going to work within. So again, you just go around and you do the whole thing. I'm not going to make you watch me do that though, as that's really dull. So I'm going to finish that off and then come back when we've got both pieces at the same stage. So now what we have is two boards that you could technically play as perfectly well like this. Obviously that's not the end of our tutorial, because a lot of you would then be thinking, well, I could measure out 10 by 10 1-inch squares. It's not rocket science. There you go. So we've got to this stage now, and the next thing we decide to do is what we want to do with our ring. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover these outside bits that aren't the turnbuckles. I'm going to cover those in sand, and I'm going to mix in a little bit of textured paint and things like that with it, just to make it stand out, because I want that to be gravelly. With this bit, I'm going to cut out the individual 1-inch tiles out of a foam board or a polystyrene, most likely a foam board, and I'm going to glue each of those on, and then I'm going to sand in between so it's kind of like grouted. But these bits around here, I can texture those straight away. Now with these ones, what I would most likely do, and what I'm going to do, is I'm going to sand those as well. The reason being that I can then paint it like a mud or a gravel, and then I can flock the top of it. And I can use a varying degree of things to do that. Some of the things that I like to use are stuff like these from Army Painter, for instance, which are like little battlefield tufts. You can use those quite fine, and what I would do is I would usually sand this, paint it, flock over the top with like a cheap railway flock or something like that. This is a mix that I use. It's not the mix that I would be using for this, but it's the mix I use for things like muddy battlefields. And it's a mix of some older bags of Games Workshop flock with some modelling flock, and it's all mixed together, and it makes like a nice uneven browns and greens kind of trodden battlefield kind of grass. But you can go to your local hobby store, like if you're in the UK, Hobbycraft or places like that, and you can pick up big bags of coloured flock, and depending on what kind of base you're doing, whether it be like a foresty thing or a lush tropical greens, you would just cover that over the top of the sand once the sand's painted. So I'm just kind of talking through at this stage what is going to be coming next. So yeah, then I'd be working on the corner things. So I'm going to work on those separately, and then I'm going to glue them on. The reason that I'm going to do that is just it's going to make it much easier to paint. It means that I'm not going to get any, sort of for the trees, the browns, I'm not going to get in the grass or the grassed area. And with this side, it means that I can have my stones different colours if I wanted. So I could have this like a grey, sort of slaty colour, and then I could have these bits I could have as more cliff style, so I could have them as like darker greys, or I could have them whites, browns, whatever I wanted really. And it's just, for me it works better if I build them all separately, do these bits separately, and then pop these little corner bits in. Now with the grass one, there's a number of different things you could do. One of which is you could do again like I'm going to do with this. You could cut out the individual squares, put them on, which means you could texture them in any way you like. Or another way to do it, which is a way that I was contemplating for a while, is texture or flock each one of these. So they'd be their own little fluffy square, and then to do it I would use the metal ruler again. So I would put it like this, and I would just flock like this one. So I'd put that up against there, and I'd start to flock it, and then I'd put that against there, so it keeps them separate still, so you can see the black lines. And the thing you could do is flock the whole thing, and then you could measure out your board. I said I just wanted to show, we're going to get to this stage. I'm not going to put them up in parts. I am probably going to put it up as one full thing. But I just sort of wanted to show you step one, which is preparing the board. I know I've rabbited a bit, and I kind of went off on a tangent at the end there. But no, so for step one, this is exactly what you'd need. Your board of at least 12-inch square, and any bigger if you'd like. A ruler, pencil, and either some kind of black marker or blue marker, or any colour marker really, or some paint, which we should all have, as we're all nerdy hobbyist types. And what you'd do, as I said, is you'd measure it out, measure 1-inch squares all the way along, so you should have enough dashes all the way across here. then you'd do the same on each edge, then you'd line them all up. And as I said, I measured 2 across, so 2 inches either side, giving me a perfect 10-inch squared centre. And as you can see, I've marked it out. That one shows up a lot better because it hasn't got the spray underneath it. And then there's that one. And this is the same you would do with any board you were making up. Or it is something you could do with any board making it up. So, for instance, if you download the PDF rules, you're not bothered about the tokens, you'll just use gems and things you have lying around the house. You could buy your team. So, for instance, the Cold Bloods, you could just buy them, and you could buy the set of dice, in which you can get the normal dice, or you can get the cool new etched dice, which look absolutely beautiful, and I must have them. Like sort of Gollum with the ring style, it's mine precious kind of obsession. I think they're beautiful, is really what I'm saying. But yeah, and then you wouldn't need to buy yourself a mat or anything like that because you've measured yourself out that. As I said, if you wanted to just do it on card or paper, you're perfectly fine to. That's still a turnbuckle. You can see that's a pre-measured out turnbuckle area. You can even, black it off or, mark it off with a pen. So that's always there if you want. And that's not going to affect your board in any way. That's perfectly playable. Start there's my corner. I'll move as appropriate. You know how the game's played, or you don't. And we are going to be doing a how-to video on how to play the game, because it's stuff at first with our channel. We decided we wanted to put stuff up because we love Rumbleslam. No other reason. We wanted to do Rumbleslam and some of the board games that we play. It then became a thing that we actually started to get more people watching it than we thought we would. We thought we'd get maybe 50 people in the first year, and I think we did our first proper videos in March or April time, and now we're coming up to 135 subscribers, something like that, which I know for a lot of people out there isn't that many. But we're very niche. We're not uber professional, are we? I mean, the amount of times you've seen one of my children wander through, or you can tell that we're just guys who game at the weekend and on an evening, once kids are in bed or once we finish work. And we never thought we'd ever go any further than, a few other people watching us. But now we've got people who watch us, quite regularly, emailing, suggesting matches that we should do. And you can find our, details. They're on our site. Sorry, they're on our YouTube. Our emails also on our Instagram and stuff. So we get a lot of people contacting us just saying, would you do this? Are you going to do that? And that's why we've started to branch out a bit more. So we've been asked to maybe make some boards, so that's what we're doing. And we've also been asked if we do a how to play video. There's already a load of really good ones out there, including a Beast of Wars one, which I'll most likely link in the comments below. Although saying that, I usually do these videos about a month before I edit them, and so by that time I've forgotten. But no, I'll try and pop it in because it's like the guys who actually made the game are there doing it, and it's really, really good. That's not to say I don't want you guys to watch ours. I obviously do. Otherwise we wouldn't put them up. But as you said, there's already some really good ones out there. We'll basically do our take on it, which from the way we play the game, you'll probably notice is most of the rules are wrong. No. But yeah, we'll do our own version of a how to play, because if you guys follow us already, and you're on the fence about maybe getting into Rumbleslam, these little things will help. We've told you can get the rulebook for free. We linked that in one of our previous videos. We've showed you how to make a very simple board, and we are going to be expanding on this as we go forward. I've just kind of had it signaled to me that yes, we are putting it up in multi-parts, because I ramble too much, basically, so you can watch it in little chunks at your convenience. That was me closing the wipes because it was really bothering me. And then we're going to do like a basic how to play. So if you're on the fence about it, you can see that you can get into it really, really quickly. And it's very, very simple to pick up the basic rules. And then you can start make up a little quick board like this, mark it out on a bit of card, a bit of paper, on a board, anything you want. Go onto TTCombats website, go onto, you know, your local stockist, see if they get it in. Pick yourself up the bits, relatively cheap to get going. You can watch a how to play video. And one thing I do like the idea of, and we've got some people who are going to be doing it, is if you film some matches and you want us to throw our kind of commentary and stuff over the top, and you want them featured on our Friday Night Fight Night or our Monday Night MVPs, get in contact with us, send us the footage, we'll put some commentary and stuff over the top of it, and we'll put it up, and we'll obviously credit you guys. Because it's not just my hobby, it's not just your hobby, it's like everybody's hobby. You know, the more people that play Rumbleslam, the more Rumbleslam's going to grow, which means that it's not going to happen what happened with the Marvel Universe Miniatures game and disappear, or many others. So yeah, that's all we've got for part 1. Part 2, I'm going to be showing you how to make the stone and the tree-based pillars. And I'm also probably going to have already done these bits. But just to quickly summarise, cover it in PVA, sprinkle it in sand. If you don't want to use sand, Games Workshop do some fantastic textured paints, and I'll use bits of those. So I'll probably have done 2 sides, and I'll show you how to do the other 2 sides so you can see how I do things. As I said, I'm by no means an expert. This is how to do things my way, not how to necessarily do things the best way. And you can judge for yourselves with that. You know, I don't want to be forcing you guys. But yes, as always, pray the dice gods hope they smile upon you, and hopefully you join us for part 2. Take care, guys.